So morning to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I've lost count of how many we've done. We've done lots of them now, so it's great. We've started to get into a bit of a kind of regular format of doing them on a monthly basis, which is really nice. So just a couple of housekeeping things. If you're going to chat, which please do, use the chat box rather than the Q&A. And if you just put two panelists and attendees, then everybody can see your questions that you've got. And then myself and Jason, who is joining us this morning, and Bex also is here, our comms and marketing manager, will answer any questions that you've got. So we'll just stop at various points during the presentation to answer any of your questions. So this morning's session, we're going to be looking at promotion yeah, so can you move on? Also, I'm totally out of control. Jason has got the controls, which is, yeah, just not used to not being in control. So we're going to cover today, we're going to cover 5 principles for promotion, just to kind of give you some ideas and tips on the type of content that you could use to promote your tribute fund scheme. And I'm going to hand it over to Jason, and he's going to give us some ideas on advice on how and where to promote your tribute fund schemes. And then at any point, please do ask any questions that you've got. And also, I'd really kind of welcome you to share your experiences and ideas that you've had and anything you've tried. I know it's a little bit tricky in a chat box sometimes to do that, but where possible, please do, because I think it's really valuable for others to see other experiences that have been had, although we'll try to do as much of that through this session as possible. Next slide, please, Jason. So the 5 principles for promoting tributes externally. So the first one is to focus on your supporters. Now, a tribute fund is a bereavement tool, especially through our product. So our advice really is to very much focus on that during your promotion. Just making sure that you highlight the bereavement benefits and talk primarily about those, as opposed to maybe the sort of fundraising potential. So maybe kind of consider it more of a sort of care service and as a way to support your bereaved supporters. Outcomes. As a charity, you're, I'm sure, all very used to talking about outcomes, but maybe in a more well, maybe not just financial, but maybe outcomes in terms of what your organisation achieves. But for tribute funds, maybe we need to sort of turn it on its head a little bit and talk about the outcomes that your supporters would get from having a tribute page. So kind of bringing it back to that sort of bereavement side of things. And maybe, yeah, so not sort of talking about the monetary kind of benefits or the value, but also highlighting the cathartic benefits. I mean, you can absolutely talk about the outcomes and the benefits that it's had to your organisation in terms of, you know, how much it's raised, or maybe what the income that is raised has enabled you to do. Talk about have real life examples, and Bex is a real, you know, has highlighted this to me a number of times actually. So sharing stories about existing supporters is really empowering. So even if it's just a picture and a quote, it can be much more impactful than having a kind of stock sort of image used. Also these real life examples could potentially become ambassadors for you, more sort of long-term sort of promotion. Events and activities. So tribute pages aren't just remembrance tools, but they could also become a central hub for fundraising events and activities. So within your tribute pages, there is an events functionality. So your fund holders and their friends and family could create events within those pages, and they can link through to Just Giving pages, or just set up the events directly through their own pages. So do make that part of your sort of promotion, maybe, you know, highlighting the fact that events can be added. That might not be a bit of functionality that is particularly well known, And also it's an opportunity to then promote your services to people who are taking part in events and have an in-mem motivation for doing so, because they may not be aware of your tribute fund offering. So that's a really nice kind of link there. And then finally, milestones and memories. And the tribute pages offer a variety of way of marking those through virtual gifts. And if you're an Optimum partner, then you can have your own bespoke Optimum gifts, and you can have those set for a particular time frame, or you can have them displaying permanently available to your supporters. And also candles are also a perfect way to be able to do this as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour of the types of things that you can focus on during your promotion. But I'm going to hand over to Jason now to talk through some of the kind of examples that you could actually use.
So I've got a really busy slide here on virtual candles and gifts. And Sally's just reminded me actually that with both candles and gifts that you can kind of schedule them to appear at a set date in the future. But the first thing I was going to say was perhaps creating your own bespoke gifts unique to your charity. And I just wanted to show you the RNLI's gallery of gifts. So gifts, as always, are under contribute and then add a gift. And you can see here, we've still got Father's Day. So we actually added this gallery of Father's Day gifts just before Father's Day. And there are some really lovely images in here that can be added as gifts. So anyway, RNLI, this is their very cute gallery of gifts with some really interesting kind of nautical ideas. So this is something that we can do for you as well. And to think about is inviting your fund holders to add a gift or a candle at different times of the year. And I've put a really long list here of potential events that take place each year. So for you to have a think about these and how your gifts, whether they're bespoke to you or whether they're the ones that we make available for you to then think about asking your support or inviting your supporters to use them at different points. And as Sally said, this is tribute pages are a long-term bereavement tool, and there needs to be a certain element of handholding. Well, it doesn't need to be, but the more handholding you do with encouraging contributions, the more valuable the tool will be, and a better kind of platform for you to interact with your supporters from a fundraising point of view. And I just put here plan 6, and I'm sure Bex and your marketing communications colleagues will have ideas about newsletters and how to share this opportunity via social media, etc. And then the next one is your website. And I wanted to kind of highlight putting yourself in the shoes of the supporter when visiting your own website. And I thought that we together could look at a couple of examples, and I'm linking directly to the charity homepage rather than their in-memory giving holding page as a way of kind of highlighting how easy it is to find their in-memory giving section. I really like Cransley Hospice Trust's website. It's really colourful. And in reality, I'd probably be, if I was a supporter, I'd probably be looking at this website from my smartphone. And I'm just going to scroll all the way down because that's what you tend to do, kind of tend to push up with your thumb. And I'm going to have a nosy at the site to the very bottom of the page. And you can see here they've got a giving in memory button here. And they've also got Grief Chat sat here. And I know that we're not talking about Grief Chat today, but you can get Grief Chat through Much Loved. And there's a real life bereavement counsellor sat behind this chat box. Anyway, so back to the top of the page, and I'm guessing it's going to be under Support Us. And this is a really good example because it's the second option down on this tab. So let's click on In Memory, scroll down, again, Grief Chat on this page. And so hidden behind here, they've got their create functionality, so their tribute create functionality. and they've also got a permanent dedication page sat behind here also. Dedication pages are also really good to link to on social media because there are so few clicks. So my point is, try to minimize clicks. Dedication pages actually work really well linking from social media. So yeah, Cransley Hospice Trust, which I really like. And then the second one I wanted to show you is the British Liver Trust. So the British Liver Trust are an Advantage partner, and I really like their website. He says, as he tries to remember how to find the in-memory giving section. So again, it's quite easy. So how can you help? Donate in memory. And it's slowly going to open up. This is a nice one. So they've got their Tribute Create functionality sat behind this button. So Advantage partners get a unique URL, and it's really nice when people turn that into a.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. We totally lost Jason and the presentation. So, well, that's the first time I've had a proper hiccup. We'll give it a second and hopefully he'll return. But in the meantime, I will.
Can anyone else hear Sally, or is it just me that can't? Sally, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Did you hear any of that? No.
Just assume no.
Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. So sorry about that. I don't know where Jason's gone. So total hiccup. But let me find the presentation for you, and I will try and.
While Sally's finding the presentation, I'll just reiterate what Jason was saying about minimal clicks. There is a huge drop-off rate if people have to go more than 2 or 3 clicks into finding the information that they want. If you can keep things really easy navigation for them, it's all the better, and hopefully you'll have less of drop-off. And also, if people are looking for in-memory giving in particular, often families are bereaved. We've all been through it. You're not necessarily thinking straight, so making things really clear and really obvious. And even if you have kind of the language as giving in memory, really obvious language, it doesn't need to be fancy. That really does help actually, so that they can navigate and find things quickly and easily. Here we go.
Okay, so well, now I've got to learn what Jason was going to say. Yeah, so we were talking about making sure that you've got a nice kind of click through, and also Jason is going to go on to talk about giving a clear explanation of what a tribute fund is, and he was going to mention that he's fairly new to this sector. He used to be a funeral director before. And so the term tribute fund didn't really mean much to him. In fact, I think he probably would have presumed it was a kind of floral tribute or a tribute to be given at a service, which are the examples that he gives here. So just kind of have a think about it. What we're seeing is a real move away from the word fund. I think maybe that's because it's an association with the monetary value. So just do kind of bear that in mind, that not only your supporters, but maybe also some of your colleagues might not be familiar with that terminology. So just sort of bear that in mind and be considerate of that. The other point that Jason's going to make is make it personable. So perhaps consider including the contact details of the person who looks after your funds. Jason loves a video, and so he would always suggest including an introductory video. And actually, maybe because of COVID, we've all become a little bit more confident and comfortable with videos. But this is a nice example that he's got here. So hopefully, if I open this up, can you see that, Bex?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Arthur Rank Hospice. They're one of our.
I'll be back.
Oh, you're back, Jason.
I'm back. I thought I'd just go for a quick. Sorry about that.
Let's keep us on our toes.
So we were just talking about you froze for ages and then you totally disappeared. So we're just finishing the slide off for you, and then I'll hand you back over to do the next one. So we were just talking about maybe having a video to introduce yourself as the sort of in-memory contact at the organisation, and Arthur Rank have got a really lovely example of that with a picture of Chloe and her contact details on the page. So I'll do the slides for you, Jason, and you can talk through your next one.
So social media, and I'm not a social media expert, and I'm sure Bex will be in a better position to answer any questions you have, and I'm sure you might even have a comms and marketing person within your organization. But video is king, and in fact, funeral directors are using video more and more on their homepage and also on their social media, because people want to see people, they want to see the person who's going to be looking after them. And I just think it's a really good way of communicating a message, the emotional kind of what it's all about, really. And the next one is link back to your in-memory kind of giving holding page on your website. Always use hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, but not on Facebook. And I put hashtag Susan Boyle. So if you're bored later on, Google hashtag Susan Boyle. And that's quite an interesting read and a valuable learning from using hashtags.
Here's what I found.
Another one is find out the best times to post. So there's this clever thing within Facebook that I don't really understand, where you can see when your audience are most active. So schedule posts to appear then.
Can I just interject ever so slightly? Facebook is kindly just getting rid of insights. They're actually removing it altogether. But if you have a Facebook page, you can still get access to the analytics through the business manager section of it. So just keep an eye out for that. If it suddenly disappears, don't panic.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. And then the next slide.
Oh.
So video, and I keep going on about video, and I know that every time I think I need to record a video because it's the most effective way of communicating a message, I feel insecure, balding, fat. Don't feel special, everyone feels insecure, but they're such a good way of communicating a message. And I wanted to show you, firstly, Laura, who's talking about her mum, and she kindly recorded this video for St. Francis Hospice.
We decided to set up a tribute fund for Mum, and we thought it would be a really nice way for people to donate. And some people we had from all over the world that wouldn't be able to get to the funeral, so that was kind of one of the reasons we wanted to do it. Another reason was we thought it'd be a good way to actually share with people that me and Dad didn't have direct contact with. So Mum had kind of lots of friends on social media herself, and people that we didn't necessarily know how to get hold of. So when we set up the page, we then both shared it on our Facebooks and shared it onto my mum's Facebook page. So that reached a whole different audience of people that we might not have been able to get in contact with. We found it really helpful because we actually put the funeral details on there as well. So again, we were just kind of sending the link to that in text messages. So rather than having to phone a lot of people up and do it over the phone, we put all the details on there. So it was kind of initially. And then it was really nice because we started getting messages from everyone. So it was a chance for people to actually kind of write nice things about Mum and write their messages. And we were really surprised, actually, kind of 5 months after she passed away, people were actually still donating. So one of her old schools she worked at, the donations from all of their Christmas cards went on there. One of her friends actually asked not to get Christmas presents and for people to donate to the hospice. So it's really nice for us because even out of the blue, you get a notification on email that actually says, oh, someone's made a donation kind of in memory. It was really easy to set up. I think it was kind of exactly like a charity page. It's 3 or 4 things you had to enter and choose a picture, and then it's there and it never goes down. So we can always use it in the future as well.
And I want to try and get across that the videos don't need to be super polished. So Laura's video is really honest, and I think that's important. So I think she looks like a supporter. It's not kind of cast with actors and fake. It's really genuine. Katie Costello, who's a healthcare assistant at St. Catherine's Hospice, recorded this video from the front of a car. And okay, it's been edited, but it's easy.
Hi everybody. You ready?
Yeah, sorry.
Hope you're all well. Some of you might recognise me. My name's Katie and I work here at St Catherine's Hospice on the community team. I just wanted to check in really. I personally am so proud of everything that the hospice has managed to achieve. And I say that genuinely. Every department has worked their socks off. We still are daily reviewing different guidelines, ways of working, how we're working in the hospice, in the community, out in our cars, in our offices, working from home. Every single department is still absolutely focused on just working in the most productive ways, the safest ways, and the best ways, not just for obviously the staff and as a hospice, but more importantly for our patients. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to reach out today was just, again, the thank you just doesn't sound enough. The donations that people are giving, you know, a couple of quid in an envelope, things in their legacies, playing our lottery, joining on the online quiz, everything that people are doing is making a huge difference. And I don't think you guys know and realise how much of a huge part you are playing in the support of the hospice. All of our main aim is to always absolutely give the best end of life care that we absolutely can. And we have been able to keep doing that because of you participating, getting involved, sharing posts, caring, you know, about what we're doing and caring about your local community. We are still able to keep doing what we're doing with the absolute best care that we can possibly do it. So thank you. Please keep doing it. You really are enabling us to do our jobs, which we love. And you've seen us through. You are making such a difference.
So Katie looks ace and the kind of person who I think could potentially be your ambassador. So Sally was talking about ambassadors earlier, and Katie looks like the perfect candidate to be your ambassador for your Tribute Fund scheme. The next one is Bonjoro. Bonjoro is an Australian piece of kit that enables you to record videos rather than embedding the video into your email. You send it straight from their platform. And there are quite a few American charities using it. You're probably wondering why is this relevant, but I just wanted to share with you how easy it is and also demonstrate that whilst you're drinking wine, you can thank your supporters. So this is Bonjoro.
Hi, Brennan, Justin. Cheers. Cheers. I don't know where the camera is. Hey, I just wanted to send you guys a quick video message to say thank you so much for supporting Sam's Fans in the past. I know you guys have a lot of causes that you feel passionately about, and I just feel really honored that you choose Sam's Fans to be a part of. So thank you for that so much. I know last year you were able to donate $100 to our Auction of the Heart at the end of Thread of Hope. And of course, we're not having our event this year, but we are having this week-long campaign of giving that ends on Thursday. And so you can click the button over here to visit our giving site. We have lots of silent auction items. We have a really cool, fun David Johnson raffle. And we also have some opportunities for peer-to-peer fundraising. So I have my own fundraising page. Some other friends do, and we would just really love your support. So again, I thank you in advance for your contributions and your commitments to our events in the past. And I just really appreciate you. And I hope we can hang out again soon on the patio. That was fun. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
So yeah, I wanted to show you a few examples of video and hopefully to say, have the confidence to go and do them. They don't need to be polished. Obviously they've been edited, and if you've got the resource, then great. But yeah, just go and give it a go. Thanks, Sally. So the next slide is over to you.
There are a couple of questions. So I wondered whether we should just have a quick look at the chat box, apart from saying I'm on mute and Jason's disappeared. But there were, so let's have a quick look. So somebody, Kathy asked, can they also add gifts to a tribute? So if you're an Optimum partner, then yes, absolutely, you can add gifts to a tribute through your partner area. And if you're an Advantage partner, you can go directly onto the tribute and do it from there. Lots of mute. When we put up personalized gifts, can they be a gift? No, we haven't got the facility to do that at the moment. They're just static images.
I think we might have actually.
Oh, really?
I think Combat Stress are creating a GIF. That's one of those movable ones, isn't it? Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, there you go. Looks like there's something that we can.
We're trialing it.
Yeah. Marie's asked, how do you approach people grieving to make a video? It must be very delicate. I'm going to ask you that, Jason, because you're probably more used to dealing with bereaved people than I certainly am anyway.
Yeah, I think people would be really flattered to be asked the question, and the worst they can say is no, but they'll probably, if they do say no, they'll probably say thank you very much for thinking of us. I also like tribute pages. It's massively cathartic, and the first thing that we do as a population is stop speaking to bereaved people, and actually for you to say, would you mind recording this video with us, and this is what we have in mind, how do you feel about that, how would you like it to work? It doesn't need to be super polished and formal. I think they'd be really flattered, and it could be really cathartic for them, and what a great way again of being able to identify an ambassador and them to be a really special supporter to you. So I think yeah, the negative of asking the question is the worst that can happen is no, but thank you. But yeah, good question. Good that you're thinking about it. But
it's a good point actually, because the video that we've made where we interview 3 fund holders, which is available on muchlove.com, and it's also a couple of our charity partners have linked to it. But we did ask them, and they were all very happy to help. One of whom had been bereaved a long time ago, one a little bit, a couple of years before, but one of the ladies that participated, her dad had died 9 months before, and she came along, she brought her mum, but her mum wasn't on the camera, but she was kind of very much part of the day of when we did the filming, and I think they did really feel a great kind of cathartic benefit from it.
I think just to add, once upon a time, I was an individual giving manager, so I used to look after lots of bereaved supporters. And I think you get to know the supporters that you can ask. You will always get the people that kind of contact you when they just need information. It's very, very raw, and you can tell that it's too much for them. But once you get to know kind of the supporters a little bit more, you get a bit of a feel about who you can talk to about it. And I think it's just a case of trying to work out exactly which of your supporters would be suitable. And if you know that someone's totally overwhelmed with grief, then obviously it's not suitable at that time.
Okay, great. Thank you, Beck. So moving on to maybe the kind of less obvious, well, not the less obvious ideas, but I'm sure you've all got leaflets, or you've certainly kind of considered having leaflets, but just to make sure that you've got a kind of very clear link back to your sort of tribute fund scheme information on your leaflet, or maybe even consider the idea of making it personal and having the details of the person who kind of they would speak to if they wanted to set up a tribute page. Business cards and bookmarks, I think, could be used in charity shops. I know that not everybody here today necessarily has a charity shop as part of their organisation, but they're really useful tools, and actually bookmarks or even business cards could be used in thank you letters to in memoriam donations, just to give something back, but maybe with some nice artwork and some very kind of subtle messaging. It doesn't have to be particularly obvious, but something like a bookmark you would, potentially have around the house for quite a long time, and you might come back to it at a later date. And then obviously there's things like book notes and pens, which actually could be part of a sort of goodie bag at an event when we get the opportunity to have events, which, if things go as planned, hopefully that won't be too far away. So we've already talked quite a lot about ambassadors, and seen some really lovely examples of how having an ambassador can really help to support you in terms of promotion. Bereavement packs, I should imagine quite a lot of you maybe already have them, but maybe you don't include information about tribute pages in them. And if we go back to the sort of the fact that they provide so much bereavement support, they should absolutely be included in a bereavement pack, because there's so much sort of benefit that your supporters could get from them. So it doesn't have to be about fundraising. I've included paid social media, but I probably need to get Bex to kind of just pitch in here, because she's basically said to me, unless you know what you're doing, pay someone else to do it.
So very, very briefly, and forgive me, I'm not sure who I'm talking to, you may very well know this, but there is a world of difference between a boosted post on, say, Facebook, Insta, than there is to an actual Facebook ad campaign. And an ad campaign can set you back quite a lot of money, and if you don't know what you're doing, you really can throw it down the drain. So my best advice, if you really want to take an interest in paid social media, Facebook, Insta, Twitter's not so great in my personal experience, but absolutely try it. I would, if you don't have anybody in-house that can do that and has that training and that skill set, I would try and get somebody in that can actually help you with it, because you can really throw money at it and waste it if you're not careful.
Great. Okay. And then there's a charity shop promotion, which I have already touched on, but don't underestimate the potential for that, because people do go into charity shops with donations as a result of a bereavement, and they might actually end up chatting to the volunteer that's working there or the shop manager. And so it's really crucial that those kind of people are aware of what your tribute fund is, and maybe have some kind of literature or the bookmark or business card to be able to kind of hand over. So something maybe that they can take away and keep and consider, or maybe they're dropping off that donation, as a favor to someone else, so they can kind of pass that information on to the relevant person. And finally, I just wanted to talk about funeral collections. So as Much Love partners, you're probably almost certainly all receiving tribute pages, donations through tribute pages created through our funeral partners. And there is the potential to steward them, either by kind of lighting candles or leaving gifts on their pages. If you're an Optimum partner, and you're probably almost certainly getting the contact details of the families through your reporting, even if it's just, so you should get the majority of it, which really trying to educate our funeral directors to give as much information as possible when they're setting up pages on behalf of families. But there is the potential for you to be able to develop that relationship and change them from a funeral collection into a tribute page. And we can change the origination of the page from having been set up as the funeral director page, to change it to become your page. So it will go from tributes fundraising for you to your tributes. So there is absolutely the opportunity to sort of promote to them and thank them. And maybe that's the opportunity where you would include a nice bookmark or a small gift as a thank you, which would really kind of get their attention. And don't forget, some funeral collections, they may choose to support a number of different charities. So in a way, you might have to make yourself sort of stand out from the others that are being supported. So just finally, just to reiterate that there's loads of information and support in our training and support site, which under your partner area, just go to the Manage tab and then scroll down to Training and Support, and it will open up the charity support site, which looks like this. And then within here, you've got a whole section on stewardship and promotion. So there's loads of information and advice in there. So please do take a look at that. There's the Much Loved case study video, which I've talked about before. And if you haven't had a look at it, you can access it directly from muchlove.com. And it's an interview with 3 different supporters or fund holders that have come to sort of set up their page from 3 sort of very different ways. Also within your Much Loved your charity support site, there's information about our Google group. So if you're not already on that, then please do get yourself on there. I think is it in helpful resources? And then, there's your Google group. And then also, whilst I'm here, I might as well tell you about this, the Much Loved modules. If you want to sign up for any other upcoming modules, then the information is here. And now we're placing all recordings of previous modules on here as well. So if I click on that, you'll see you can access all of the previous recordings that we've done. So I won't be able to send it out today, but I'll alert you to once it's live on here for you. And then finally, don't forget your lovely account managers, or any of the team at Much Loved. You know, we're very much here to help you. So please do get in touch if you've got any questions. So I think that is everything from us. I think there is a question actually that's come on the Q&A. So somebody's asked if they've already started a Just Giving page. Is it too late to use Much Loved platform in this campaign? No, I mean, what you can ask them if they'd like a Much Loved tribute page, and the supporter can link their Just Giving page to their Much Loved page. So they just need to cut and paste the URL address of the Just Giving page, and it will copy across all of the content from that Just Giving page onto their Much Loved tribute, and record all of the donations that have previously been given through the Just Giving page as offline donations onto the Much Loved tribute page. Excellent. So I think we've covered everything actually. So thank you very much for joining us this morning, and please do join us at our session next month. And yeah, thank you very much, Bex and Jason, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. So I'm going to work out how to stop sharing it. I seem to have lost my oh, let's stop recording.